Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty, and we are so back. The team on your screen, Shadow Empoleon, Cresselia, and Shadow Gligar as the safe switch helped propel me from the mid-2300s at the end of that Magnezone video to the high 2600s at about 2680 ELOs where I finished off with running this team, and it is such a good one. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I have full faith in this team, so I'm gonna show you some of the battles that I had with it, some of the fun that I had along the way as well. And this is gonna be a little bit of a longer video today, uncharacteristic of me, but be sure to leave this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already to show me that you like your Shmeaty extra long. Alright, with all that fucking around out the way, let's go ahead and take a look at these matches. Kicking things off with game number 1, as Empoleon's going to lead into Annihilape. You're going to see me duck into Cresselia here. Is Cresselia a duck? I don't know. Anyway, we are going to bring in Cresselia. They're going to counter switch with a Mantine, but this is fine. Honestly, Cresselia can put in a lot of work in this matchup, and as you're going to see, we're going to get away with flip and switch here. Spoiler alert. They are going to fire off a move here. I don't care what this is. It is Aerial Ace, and that's kind of telegraphing that maybe they have Ice Beam, or maybe they don't know Water Pulse is better DPE, but they are just going to continuously fire off Aerial Ace after Aerial Ace, but this is not threatening to the Cresselia whatsoever. We're going to continue building up to the back-to-back Grass Knots, just about, and then fire off this Grass Knot. This is a range where a Grass Knot plus a little bit of farm will be enough to take out the Mantine, and now I have residual energy for whatever they have in the back, and I have switch advantage. Cresselia with loaded energy while running Future Sight is an absolute menace. So you're going to see this Future Sight land onto the Lickitung. There goes 45% of your health, Mr. Lickitung. They are going to lick me all the way down. Don't take that the wrong way. Bring in the Gligar. They brought in their Annihilape, and they stood in for a while because they were on autopilot. I hit the record button too late, but it is Empoleon leading into a Skarmory in this next match, and they're staying in, even better for me. Them throwing energy so quickly here almost guarantees that they're going to fire off a Brave Bird, but they're staying in for some reason. Apparently not a very big fan of their Skarmory, as I am going to be able to fire off a Hydro Cannon, which nearly takes them out from the range they were at, and they have an Annihilape and a Carbink back. We immediately figure out their entire team, and honestly, this is fine for the Gligar. They have not done very much damage to the Gligar at all, so they are in a range where Empoleon can just come back in and farm this Carbink all the way down. They're going to go for the Rock Slide. I'm actually going to go for the Dig at the last possible second, maybe hoping that they maybe reach another Rock Slide and I can CMP them. They are going to bring back in the Annihilape, but we have an Aerial Ace loaded for the Annihilape. They are going to have to put up a shield here, but Empoleon also has a move. So you're going to see me bring in Empoleon, fire off the Drill Peck, and Drill Peck will command another shield from this Annihilape as it just about one-shots. Bringing in the Cresselia, and this Cresselia is not on Moonblast. We've got a special move just for this Annihilape with his name on it, is the Future Sight. They're going to fire off another move here, and honestly I could probably live this, but you are going to see me put up the shield, fire off the Future Sight for insurance, and this game is over. GG's. Did somebody order some cringe? Because I think somebody ordered some cringe. It's going to be a Wigglytuff as our next lead, but Empoleon absolutely cooks Wigglytuff, so they are going to safe switch into their Shadow Poliwrath, and their team comp has just been read. This is going to be the Wigglytuff, Shadow Poliwrath, Annihilape team, and this team is very playable for us, provided, I mean, we just hard comp them, but provided we don't bring Gligar into this and go down shields, we are perfectly fine. So you are going to see me respond to this Poliwrath with Cresselia and not Gligar's. Cresselia does not have to use any shields here. They're going to build up to a power-up punch here, and I know I can easily live this power-up punch, get both of my Grass Knots off. I'm nearly at the back-to-back here. So honestly, if you want to give up 2 shields and switch advantage, be my guest. I'm going to build up to the Future Sight. This was absolutely not needed, but I was, double debuff. So for insurance, you're going to see me throw the Future Sight. They're going to bring in Wigglytuff, and in the back is the Annihilape, just as expected. Game is over. GG's. Alright, who's going to be next? It's going to be a Lantern lead into our Empoleon. Very important to go for the fast move check here, and it is Water Gun, so we can actually stay in a little bit, and Empoleon can put in some serious work onto this Lantern. We are going to fire off Hydro Cannon number 1, and these Hydro Cannons, although resisted and the Steel Wings being double resisted, nearly having this Lantern down to 50% health. Unfortunately, another Hydro Cannon plus some Steel Wing Fast Move Pressure will not do the trick, and we will have to fire off a third Hydro Cannon to pick up the KO. I'm going to call a bait here. They do full send the Thunderbolt, but that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to bring in my Cresselia and look to handle this Lantern energy by just soaking it all on the Cresselia. They're going to fire off a move here. I don't care what this is. I will survive it very easily, and it is just going to be the Thunderbolt. Unfortunately, here you're going to see me make a misplay, overfarm just a little too much, and play into the losing CMP tie. They are going to Surf, and this Grass Knot is probably still going to pick up the KO onto this Lantern, even though I zero bubbled it. It does indeed pick up the KO, and they have a Gligar in back. Now, we haven't seen their entire team, but them bringing in Gligar here can mean that they could potentially be weak to Crest or Gligar in back. They are staying in. They are going to stay in, throw a lot of energy onto my Gligar. Now I have a decision to make. Am I going to commit my shield onto my Gligar? Not quite yet. I'm going to no-shield one Aerial Ace, knowing that I can live one pretty comfortably, and shield the second, and it is going to be an Annihilape in the back. I am at the back-to-back Aerial Aces here, but Annihilape can start grabbing shields with just a singular Night Slash here, and I've only got one shield left. I'm going to build up to the Aerial Ace fired off, and it is going to be on the CMP tied to this Annihilape's Night Slash. However, I should just be able to outpace them if my counts are correct. I'm going to go for an undercharge on this Aerial Ace in case they were to no-shield it and leave it all in the hands of their own Gligar. I could have potentially gotten a farm down there, which would have been helpful. Nevertheless, this Aerial Ace will KO the Annihilape. In comes their Gligar, and it's a simultaneous KO, but with Cresselia alive in the back, that game's a win. GG's. Getting into this next match, and Shadow Empoleon's going to find in Azumarill exactly where we need to see it. We love to see that. Honestly, I wouldn't rather deal with Azumarill anywhere else, but they're going to bring in a Giratina origin into my Empoleon. However, I have such a massive energy lead that I'm fine staying in here and going for the double Drill Peck. I am going to commit a shield here. This is just going to be an ominous win, but I see my Empoleon has a lot of play and don't want to put it in potential bubble down range for that Azumarill. So I'm going to bring in my Gligar, and here I am going to no-shield this move. Even if it was a Shadow Ball, which it was not, it was an ominous win. But if it was a Shadow Ball, I want to be lower ideally for this Azumarill. We're going to go for the dig on the Azumarill. This is going to do some decent chip damage onto it. And if they let me get a second dig off here, that's perfect, as Empoleon would be able to come in and go for the easy farm down. Opponent is a little smarter than that, and they are going to fire off the Ice Beam to get rid of me. But now I'm just going to bring in Empoleon and get a massive energy lead for myself. I know this could potentially be a play rough, and I'm not in a position where I want to take a play rough, so we are going to build up a massive amount of energy, nearly 100, and bring in Cresselia. Now this is a perfect farm down range for Cresselia. This Azumarill has no energy left, and in the back, it's going to be their own Gligar. But this game is absolutely won. They're going to fire off some energy here, and this is okay. Cresselia can tank anything that this Gligar can throw from this point, and the Future Sight is going to do massive damage onto the Gligar. They're not going to want to shield it, and they're now in range where a Grass Knot could potentiate a KO. They're going to fire off their move here, but them throwing their energy can only mean one thing. Empoleon is going to come in with two moves loaded, firing off the Drill Peck here in case they tried to go for a last second catch onto that Azumarill in the back. It would still KO. I think the Hydro would too. In comes the Azumarill, and they get farmed down. GG's. Another game, another Azu lead. Of course, this is fine by us, as Empoleon has such a good typing advantage versus Azumarill. We're going to build up 10 Steel Wings, fire off the Drill Peck, and this will put them in a range where another Drill Peck will threaten the KO. I'm going to build up some more energy, and just before I'm able to make my next Drill Peck, they are going to fire off a move. It's going to be a Hydro Pump, and Hydro Pump hits for some heavy damage, but we are not afraid of that damage. We're going to build up to the back-to-back Drill Pecks and fire one off. Now, this was on alignment, but it could have potentially been CMP to an Ice Beam, which from the range I was at could have potentially KO'd. They're going to bring in a Charge-a-Bug, but I'm firing off moves back-to-back, and that Drill Peck did big damage onto that Charge-a-Bug. Charge-a-Bug is going to fire off their move onto our Gligar, but Gligar completely neutralizes the energy from the Charge-a-Bug. We're going to build up to the back-to-back Aerial Aces and look to pick up the KO with our Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace onto the Charge-a-Bug is going to take them out from the range they were at, and they can't really bring in Azu, but they do. They're looking to grab my energy here, but that's fine. I'm just going to put up a shield and take the energy lead that they give me. Gligar going for the farm down. We get the farm down of the Azu, and we get the dig to land onto the incoming Lickitung. They are going to put up a shield, but now I just have another dig, and this dig is going to do some serious damage onto Lickitung. And from this point, this is a very easy game. We just switch into our Cresselia, go for the Future Sight, and it may not KO from the range that the Lickitung is at right now, but Just one more move past that point will pick up the KO. We don't have to respect anything the Lickitungue's throwing, as the energy not going to do a lot of damage onto the Cresselia. We're going to fire off this Future Sight onto the Lickitungue, nearly picking up the KO. We might even be able to go for the farm down, but I say fuck that. We're just going to go for the Grass Knot, guarantee the dub. GG's to this trainer. I swear I could not catch a break with the leads I was seeing. Empoleon into Annihilape again. If you run this team in the 2600s, be very careful, because it seems as if every 2600s player is just leading Annihilape, spamming the Annihilape button. Nevertheless, I'm just too salty, I guess. I'm going to bring in my Cresselia into a non-Shadow Gligar. Well, rather, they're going to bring their non-Shadow Gligar into my Cresselia, fire off a dig, but that's not really meaningful damage. Now, they didn't respect my Future Sight the first time around, so they better respect it this time around, or they're going to put themselves into a range where Cresselia can get the farm down onto them. They are going to fire off 2 digs onto my Cresselia, but that's not even going to come close to KOing Cress. And now if they bring back in Annihilape, they're going to have to give me a shield, because I have Future Sight and I am not afraid to use it. Future Sight onto this Annihilape will either get the shield or the KO onto the Ape, so of course they're going to put up a shield. They really want to preserve this Ape, as they know it has play into my Empoleon. They are going to fire off a move here, and I'm predicting them to just full send and switch, and they did full send and switch into a Lantern. This is not good for me to see whatsoever. However, they are going to shield up my dig, and here I make a really bozo play. Now they are going to fire off a move, and I know I need my Gligar to win this game. Empoleon's pretty much dead weight, so I am going to build up past my dig and bozo switch into my Empoleon. This is a terrible play for me. The opponent playing this out very well. They're going to go for the Surf, and that Surf allows them to, just before I'm able to make back-to-back Hydro Cannons, which would pick up the KO on this Lantern, farm me down and leave with so much energy. I know I'll win CMP with my Gligar, but they make the perfect catch onto Annihilape, so I need a perfect play in return. I'm going to undercharge the dig that they caught onto their Annihilape, and this needs to be a picture-perfect play. I need to leave with the dig, and I'm able to leave with the dig. I win CMP over the Lantern. I needed a perfect play to come back, and we were able to make just that happen. GG's to this trainer, very well played. Empoleon finally going to pick up a good lead in this next match, as it is going to lead into a Shadow Dragonite. They're going to immediately switch into a Feraligatr, and this is immediately a problem for my team. They are going to fire off the Hydro Cannon, but I know my Empoleon has value, so I am just going to fire off this Drill Peck and look to get a shield from this Feraligatr. Unfortunately, I will never outpace this Feraligatr, so you're going to see me catch onto my Cresselia. This damage is still very threatening to my Cresselia, and they are going to outpace me before I make my Grass Knot, but this is still playable. I'm going to no-shield this next move as well, and fire off a Grass Knot. I'm very low, so I'm not going to be able to fire off a Grass Knot just before they make a move, because they're going to Shadow Claw down well before then. So they are going to double shield their Feraligatr, and this is a problem. I am going to bring in Empoleon, and they bring in a Clodsire. This is beautiful for me. I'm going to build up to 7 and fire off my Hydro Cannon onto the Clodsire. They're going to fire off their move immediately, and honestly, I'm in range where Stone Edge would probably KO. Stone Edge does pick up the KO, but this is perfect. They have no idea, but they've trapped their Clodsire in here, and now they're down both shields with 2 glassy Pokemon in the back, meaning that I'm perfectly okay with just farming down the Clodsire from start to finish from where my Gligar came in, firing off these 2 Aerial Aces, and we are in a commanding position, but they make a really nice catch onto their Feraligatr. I'm looking for maybe a little bit of a farm down here, but it's not going to happen. In comes the Dragonite, and nearly on 1 HP, Gligar going to be able to make another Aerial Ace and pick up the dub. GG's. Hopping into this final game of the video, as Empoleon leads into a Unova Stunfisk, and this is suspicious. I logged into YouTube on my lunch break, I checked, I saw a thumbnail from Jonkus with a Unova Stunfisk on it and a Legend rank ELO on it, and I'm like, this could be a Jonkus team, and in comes a Wigglytuff to meet my Cresselia, and I'm like, yep, this is absolutely going to be a Jonkus team, so I am going to build up to the Future Sight, fire it off onto the Wigglytuff, and now I'm going to fire off a Grass Knot. This is not going to be enough to KO. They know that, and no shield, or they just don't shield their Charmers around here, these parts, I don't know. Anyway, they're going to fire off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to get the debuff onto my Cresselia, but we're going to be able to comfortably live it and fire off a Grass Knot in retaliation against this Stunfisk. Now Stunfisk may think that they're going to be able to get the farm down, but I've reached the Grass Knot on 1 HP, and this is absolutely perfect. Stunfisk is completely walled by the Gligar that comes in. They're going to bring in a Dugong, and in comes my Empoleon. This is a tough decision for me to make immediately, though. I am going to put up a shield, and it's an Icy Wind bait. That is not good. Not a good start here. I'm going to fire off this Drill Peck because I don't want to be firing off 2-stage debuff energy and maybe not even drawing shield from this Dugong. And now, another very important decision for me, once again. Is it a Drill Run? No, it's not. It's an Icy Wind, and I call it, and Junkus cannot save you from me. GG's. If you made it to this point in the video, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support you guys have given the channel recently, and I can't wait to continue bringing you guys the content you enjoy. Now, if you guys do feel like you want to run this team, I highly encourage you to do so, but just be very careful, as in certain ELOs, you may see a lot of Annihilape lead, which is particularly difficult for this team to deal with. Although you have 2 answers, you are immediately going to be on the back foot, and if they have a good response to your safe switch, you're kind of in shambles. But with all that being said, thanks again so much for watching. This has been Shmeaty. I hope to see you guys again next time, and have a good rest of your day.